Aloha and welcome to United 808, the show that highlights all things UPW statewide. I'm your host, Flash, and joining me today, State Director Kalani Werner, and a very special guest I can't wait for you to meet. So stick around and follow me as we highlight all things UPW statewide. Well, the man, the myth, the legend, Kalani, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
So, what's going on? What's the temperature of UPW right now?
Right now, the union's been in an intense battle over our temporary hazard pay, and we're just trying to fight for what the members deserve and what's provided for them in the contract. So the biggest thing we get going on statewide is that THP.
THP. I've heard a lot about that lately. What else you have going on besides THP?
Actually, so for my staff, we just had our completing a 100-day plan. And part of that 100-day plan, they had goals set. They had to do in-person visits to each of their base yards. We held small Section 8 informational meetings at the base yards. We wanted to do more in-persons, find out what the issues for all our members are. And we were able to do that with these smaller meetings. We started off rolling with a new training program, a program that 6 members were allowed to participate in, not only on a local level, but also on a national level with our international ASHME. And they got to really see what organizing on all different levels was all about. And as we rewrap and reshape this program, we're going to offer it to more members come early next year.
Awesome. So if I'm a member and I want to be a part of that next year, do you have a way to sign up for that, or how does that work? So
what we're doing is we're identifying member leaders, individuals that are stepping up within their base yards, their facilities, everywhere that's able to be identified. That's the guy that the other coworkers go to for help with their contract.
Like Doug Correia, who we'll get to a little later.
Yes, exactly like Doug Correia.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, and so you did mention Section 8. Can you get into Section 8 in particular a little bit more?
It was really good meetings. We went out large Section 8s in Kona. We went out into Maui. We went to Molokai, Lanai.
I want to go with you on one of these trips. That sounds glorious.
We got to every single one where we got to meet with the members. We went to the jails, the prisons to meet with them directly. That's probably one of the most difficult is our bargaining in 10. The type of work they do, it's hard to leave the job site. So with this round, we were able to get into their work and sit down and talk to them and identify the issues going on, give them direct updates from me, myself, be able to have those talk stories, and just to be able to settle any rumors going on that they're hearing. And it's always better when they're in the light and they hear the information directly.
From the horse's mouth, no less.
Directly.
I'm sure it's got to help with communication too. Smaller groups, people feel more inclined to, speak frankly.
Funny enough, that's actually what the members identify most is when they're the larger Section 8s and they can be at the gym or at the stadium. And you have all the different base yards, bargaining 1 and 10 in there. It's hard for one individual who would have a question to be able to stand up and ask because his question doesn't relate to anyone else.
But or he's just shy.
Could be that also. UPW members, we're not shy.
You're not shy, that's for sure.
But it's when you go to these smaller ones and it's just their friends, their coworkers in these meetings, they're able to relate and we're able to identify what is the issues. On Maui wastewater, when we were able to sit down and talk to them, and standby was a big issue for them. When we were with Public Works on Maui, the shoes allowance was a big issue for those folks. UH here on Manoa, parking. People have to pay to go to work. And that's something we need to address in the next negotiation.
Can you figure out UH parking for someone like me who just wants to visit? Because parking at UH has been a nightmare ever since I went to school there for everybody involved.
Yeah, so... No, but it's like that is when we're sitting down with these members and it's a room with maybe 12 to 20. Some of them were larger with up to 60, but it's all their coworkers, their friends from their base yards. So they're more comfortable identifying issues. They're more comfortable just hashing things out. So it's more productive, not only getting our message that we want out, but in return, we get way more feedback from the members directly.
Sure, and I was just going to bring that up, that I'm sure you walk away from these meetings yourself with sort of a lot of new knowledge that you didn't have before.
Correct. Well, the main thing is I was a former dues-paying member, still am, and you want to make sure your dues are being used properly. You want to make sure that you see what's being done with it. And now when we're able to sit down and talk to them directly, and they understand the battle we're going through with the employer back and forth with the THP, and we explain the steps we're at, they completely get it, and they feel more comfortable, and the trust is there again.
Awesome. And that's what you're here for, right? That's your job, and that's what UPW should be doing for all of its members.
Correct. Exactly.
So that's really great to hear. It seems like, just taking a step back, not just from UPW, but just the workforce in general in America over the last, whatever you want to call it, 10, 20 years, benefits is the main thing for everyone that's going away, or certainly becoming less than it used to be. People's 401ks and stuff disappearing. It seems like this is a problem for everybody, but you guys are really sort of spearheading the movement, I would say.
No, I want to say it's a collective action. We are the public sector unions. Since I've taken office, I've noticed that a lot of the union leaders work together hand in hand. We want to make sure that we're all on the same page as we pursue this battle. We cannot be turning against each other and fighting against one another. And it's been more of a collective effort fighting for all the public sector members. And it's also the same thing with our private sector members. We see a broader fight going on over there. When we had our strike on Maui, you saw more local unions coming out and supporting. You saw more trade unions coming out and supporting. And that's something we haven't seen in years, and it's growing stronger and stronger.
And speaking of Doug Correia, we talked to him about that specifically, and it was just really heartwarming to hear the different UPW members on different islands that will jump on a plane and to go to where they're needed to give insight and advice. I mean, that's got to make not only you feel good, but all of the other members feel good. That it's like you feel like the entire UPW Ohana has your back, whatever it is that you're going through.
That's so true, because this union is more of a family. You might have your differences, you might have your disagreements, but in the end, you have to catch each other's back. Doug Correia is a very rare breed. That guy went above and beyond his calling, and he shares it all the time. It hit home for him. Second generation union, his care for his love for his son. He felt he needed to be there every day. But it was also the same for their division vice president, Miley Lynn. Every day she was cooking something for that line, and it was just more and more that they wanted to give back, even though they weren't working directly with the hospital. It was just the love, Maui strong, the UPW strong, the passion that they felt that they just needed to be there.
And specifically about Doug, I mean, can you give me some specific examples about just what he did and how amazing he is?
So Doug, at first, he would hold the line. He would walk the line with everybody. Then it went and it expanded to something else that nobody noticed at first. Nobody noticed the trash pile was disappearing every morning. Nobody noticed the generators were being refueled on a daily basis. And it was all Doug. He wouldn't ask, he wouldn't argue, he would just get it done.
He's a quiet guy.
He's a quiet guy. He's a humble guy. He has a very big
humble,
heart. Yes. Yeah. His son is everything to him in the world. And for the first time, we were just recently talking that he felt that this union was his family that he was missing. And that's why he wears his heart on his sleeve. He gives everything he got to whatever he puts his thought and his heart to. But you've met him, you've seen him. Anybody who's ever just talked to him realize he's 100% pure. He's just committed to the union and the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the epitome of UPW, but he's also just the epitome of what it means to grow up in Hawaii and just to really embody the Aloha spirit, first and foremost. I think he's a perfect example of that.
It's just one of those, this is on family that brought him up, that just taught him good work ethics, that raised him to be a good person. And then you can see it when he walks around and he talks to you, that he means everything from his heart.
So as Doug is doing all these things in the middle of this strike, you know, how is that impacting not only UPW, but the community as the generators just keep running and the trash just magically disappears, and he's doing all the little things that nobody really sees, but obviously is incredibly vital?
You know what? It was just an amazing impact to everybody, because it was about 2-3 weeks in before anybody realized he didn't work at the hospital. And they were like, "Oh, I thought he was maintenance." I was like, "No, he's not maintenance." "Oh, isn't he from the cafeteria?" "No, he's not from the kitchen." And they're like, "Oh, we thought he was from the hospital." I was like, "No, he's from the public sector. He's DOT." And they're like, "Wow, that's amazing." And then the stories would talk, where they would share that when any of the ladies have to go to the restroom, and where they would go to the restroom would be dark at night, and he would walk them down with the light just to help them. And he'll walk them back up, even though he didn't have to use the restroom. He would hold a light up above everybody else so that they could eat in the light. So It was just like little things that nobody noticed, that once they realized he wasn't from the hospital, they started sharing stories like that.
Right. And he's, like you said, too shy, too humble to say, "Hey, I'm not from the hospital. I'm doing this on my own time outside of my actual work." Doug truly sounds like an amazing and inspiring person. And for those of you that don't know Doug Correia, I hope you all enjoy this short little video we've got for you.
To me, why a member should be involved is how I always talk about that family environment is important to me. UPW strong is just like family strong. So my name is Douglas Kalani Werner. I work for State of Hawaii Department of Transportation. In the union, I'm the secretary for the Maui division, also part of the SCB board. As a person, I gained stronger union-wise, like more educational throughout the union. It helped me carry that to my workplace, made us stronger as a family. I got more involved so I can get more familiarized with the members instead of just a name on a piece of paper, so they have a face to my name. Yeah, it was just like how we were on the line is just more interacted, so that it's more like friendly family style instead of just, "Oh, that's the guy," or "That's him." So I got involved with the Labor of Love Dole Middle School. It's just to give back to the kids, show that union representation, and also the strike on Maui, along with the members walking them on the picket line and helping the food distribution. My mom was part of UPW back in '93. She started. She used to be a park caretaker at one of the parks on Maui upcountry. So this kind of union strong with my family. So I just continued it, kind of so that we can build that family relationship throughout the membership. But what I accomplished while I got involved, or I'm still getting involved with, is the friendly turning into a family style environment with me towards the members and also the public, and getting our UPW name out there. To me, why a member should be involved is how I always talk about that family environment. UPW strong is just like family strong.
All right, Doug.
All right.
Good.
Doug, so great to be talking to you. So you mentioned the word family came up quite a bit. And you said you grew up in a union household. What was it like to have your mom be in the union, and what exactly did she do for the union?
She used to be one of the park caretakers at the parks upcountry, Maui. And she was just at 7 to 3:30, come home. And then, yeah, my dad too. He used to work, actually he was one of the last guys for the Hayaka Dairy, the milk cows. He closed that down for.
And he was in the union too?
He was LIW chief steward for that base yard.
So growing up in a union household, what what were your takeaways? Because clearly it had a positive impact on you, and obviously you're in the union now. So it must have had some sort of impact on you from small kid time.
Yeah, there's just watching how my mom and dad, their coworkers used to get along together. Like how I said, that family, if everybody came together. So that's how I kind of wanted to continue it as with me and going into further with the union. The UPW.
Mm-hmm. Do you look at the union as more of a union for workers, or do you look at the union more as an extended Ohana for you?
To me, it's more of a extended Ohana. That's why I kind of put that family word out a lot.
Yeah. And when the Maui strike happened and you stepped up, was it that sense of family, that sense of Ohana that got you to motivate to act?
Yeah. Like how my parents, like I said, family, if one person is down, everybody steps up to help. So I just jumped in and see what I could do to help them. Because coming from construction, I used to take a year, 2 years off as non-work. So I knew how it felt without having a paycheck.
Yeah. Now, clearly you're working full time. Everybody's busy these days, but you managed to carve out time every day to help with the strike. Where and how did you find the time, and why was it just so important for you to do that?
I used to go like 5 o'clock in the morning to the strike line.
Before work?
Before work.
Oh my God.
Helping them out. And then the days that I don't go visit my son, I'll go right after work till 11, 12 o'clock at night. So from like 4 o'clock to 11 at night, just helping them out on the line.
So you're getting what, 3-4 hours of sleep a night?
Pretty much. I'm used to it.
So you felt it was your duty, your obligation to do this, to step up?
Yeah. It's hard to see other members down, hurting, so kind of be there to help them out with whatever I could.
Yeah. And growing up, is that what your parents did in the union, stepping up for others when they needed help?
Yeah. Like I always said, my mom and my dad were both chief stewards in their base yard, so that's why I stepped up from our chief steward, and now I'm the secretary for Maui Division. Right,
but you're more than that. You're on the state board too.
Yeah, I'm on the SCB board.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
The SCB board is our highest governing body in the UPW, so we make decisions to better the union going forward.
You're on the front lines. You're at the strike. Sounds like every day, all day, before work, after work, till the wee hours. But you're also on the state board. So you have the perspective of the strike from the board members' side, but also the perspective of the strike from somebody on the front lines. What are some of those differences that you see having that unique viewpoint?
From the strike line, we're right there blocking that main entrance. And I had a couple of incidents, cars coming through the line. They almost hit a couple of the older members. And then, yeah, it's heartfelt watching that happen.
So now that you have a position on the state board, what sort of things can the board do to help in the future with situations like this? Or what would you like to see them do?
More of them coming out so they can have that boots on that line, seeing how everything unfolded. Because from a word of mouth is different from actually being on that line.
Yeah. You were there. You were on the front lines. I mean, I'm sure you heard stories or saw yourself firsthand what people were going through and their financial struggles.
Yeah, there's couple. I think there's a couple couples. One was the wife was a CNA, and then the husband was a maintenance worker. Two of them were on that strike line, so that's hard. Two incomes not coming in.
And what if you have kids? Who's watching the kids?
Then they have to go try to find family members, if not a sitter, but then still you have to pay for a sitter.
Very expensive these days.
Yeah. It's like close to $700 now a month-ish.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it. I don't have kids.
It's hard.
Yeah. So how are, those couples that you're speaking of, what's their state of mind as the strike continues to go on?
They were like, they were very emotional, and some of them are, yeah. They were heartfelt, like just listening to their stories and their struggles of that days that are there on the line it's very heartfelt. It's
hard to see, like you said, people in your family struggle, right? And that's what the union is for everybody. It's just one big extended ohana, and no one wants to see anyone in their family suffer, right?
Yeah, that is so true.
I did want to get, Doug, I do want you to tell everybody what your job is on Maui, but then also what you do for the union in particular, because it's pretty impressive.
First of all, I work for DOT Harbors Maui, building maintenance helper. Been doing that. I started at 2015. And I'm part of I am the secretary for Maui Division and part of the SCB board.
You guys have a new state director, Kalani. What do you think about what he's done for you guys so far?
To me, he's doing an awesome job. He's keeping us on track. He's instilling that family orientation thing throughout the union as a whole. Everybody come together. Everybody helps out each other.
You can't go wrong if you treat everybody like your family. Yeah.
We all have that. My family, we all have that once in a while want to beat up people, but you know what I mean? At the end of the day, we look at it, we're family.
Yeah.
We still got to love each other no matter what.
Yeah. So, family's important to you, man. That's why you're such a great union member.
Family is totally important to me.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Doug. I appreciate it. Well, we talked about him, and now everyone got to see for themselves how just truly amazing Doug is. I was very humbled to meet him. He's such a sweet, nice man, and what you see is what you get. So I'm glad we got to share that with everybody today. The union is doing some fantastic work. Clearly, what's on the horizon for UPW?
As we move forward, we're going to start reaching settlements. We're going to start getting arbitration decisions for the hazard pay. One thing we just want to make sure the members know is once we come to an agreement with the employer, it's going to be fundings for these settlements and fundings for these decisions. And that's why it's so important that the members stay involved and get involved. If it's making sure your information is updated, making sure you're getting the proper emails, you know who your chief stewards are. We got to make sure that when next session comes out for ledge, or even the county council, whatever it may be, that the members show up in force, in support that the funding is there to pay us. We want to make sure that it's 100% backing, not just a few show up, it's everyone there in support. We got to catch each other's back. For law enforcement, you have this whole ladder of movement of use of force, and the first one always starts off with the show of force. And us showing up in numbers sets the tone for everything. So that's something we just got to keep in the back of our mind. As we move forward, the show of force is everything, that we work together as one big family. And not only that, it's through these things that we talked about today, is finding the next member leader, finding the next chief steward, finding the next board member, the one individual out there that it hits home for him, that he wants to step up and be more involved.
Or her,
correct. And it's the brother or sister out there that might not realize they have it in them to be the chief steward or to be a steward, that voice in the base yard. But it's a calling. This is not somebody saying, hey, you go take the job now. it's a calling, and somebody has to be prepared to do the fight.
And that Doug was a perfect example of that, because he said that he was just sort of minding his own business until the strike happened, and then he knew what he had to do.
Yes.
It came from within. Like you said, it was a calling within himself that he had to step up and do what he did for that strike, which was truly incredible.
Yeah, and that's all it is. As we move forward, the involvement. There's so much events going on. We have our Blue Collar Christmas coming up. We have a whole bunch of Christmas events coming up for the members. Just come out in numbers. Come out and support. Let everyone see that your base yard is in support as we move forward.
I hate hearing Christmas so early in the year, man. You're scaring me.
It's a good thing. It's the best holiday. What are you talking about?
You'd make a perfect Santa Claus, by the way. Have to fight Maleko for that job. Well, Kalani, it's been a pleasure. So thankful that we get to sit down and do this. And for all the members, we are going to be doing more of these. So I can't wait to dive into all things UPW with you and get to know you better.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for joining us today on United 808. I learned so much. I hope you did too. I'm really looking forward to our next episode. Coming soon. Remember, we're stronger together.